Let's get into our last conversation. And it's a very, well, it's not a simple one, but you will understand why it's top of mind. Where was the youth vote in the recently concluded by-elections? 22 of them across the country for MCAs, for MPs, for a Senate seat. Where were the youth? We have Ken Babu, who is the youth chair for the United Opposition, in studio with us. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Before we get to any business, Janet will share the quote of the day with you. So please tell us what it says to you, if it speaks to you or not.
Okay.
Yes, today's quote is by Nelson Mandela. He said it back in 1999. And he said, safety and security do not just happen. They are the result of collective consensus and public investment. What do you make of that?
Safety and security do not just happen. Yeah, I think what I make of it is the fact that everybody has a responsibility to actually ensure that everybody around you is safe and everything around you is secured. It's an individual responsibility, and if we come together, we put it collectively, we can assure ourselves that we'll be safe and our staffs are secured. Yeah.
Do you think we're not doing that well, are we, in your opinion?
No, we are not. Yeah, as a country, we are not. In fact, we are living in an individualistic manner. If I'm okay, it doesn't matter who else is not okay. Yeah, that's the sad state that we are in right now. And it reflects on even during elections and campaigns. You'll realize that if candidate A, so long as he's not part of us, whatever he's doing, whether it's bad or good, we'll deal with it after the results. If the results are in our favor, we will not even talk about it. But if the results are not in our favor, we'll now say, oh, that guy did 1, 2, 3. Right. So Mandela was right.
Yeah, and actually I like the way you brought in that angle. So this is to say, even when the one party in an election is attacked, all the other parties should stand up and speak.
Definitely.
Because the others are like, it sounds them right.
Yeah. It works in our favor.
I think
true.
It should be, if I'm injured, all of us are injured. If we go that direction, we are going to have a society where we can all coexist and survive. But unfortunately, the political game that we are playing today, provided that you are not part of a coalition, a certain coalition, if you are being attacked outside there, nobody cares. So then we have to change the conversation to collective responsibility.
Like that.
Is the United Opposition doing that?
Yeah, we are doing that. We are doing that. And that's why we called out those guys that were attacking even people who are not our in our camp. You know, in Bere North, we had that CCK candidate, and there's a day that Moses Kuria, while campaigning there, he was attacked by goons that were alluded to have been sent by the UDA faction. We stood out and condemned that, because anyway, Moses Kuria might have been, the person who was attacked might have been in our camp. You know that? So we stood out and condemned that, because one life lost is a big mess. We condemned that. Unfortunately, from the other end, we were attacked, our agents were beaten, but nobody has spoken up today. Why? Because they won the election. You know that? So they feel like anything that happened in that process is okay. Yeah.
Ken, I want to start with your title. You're the youth chair for the United Opposition. What does that mean?
The United Opposition is a coalition, or a collection of different parties that are not in agreement with what the current regime is doing. And we are offering alternative solutions to the larger Kenyans. And like I said earlier on, we are in the process of building that coalition and putting up a proper name for it. But as for now, it is called United Opposition. And as any other political affiliation, it has got different segments. We have the wing that deals with issues that will proposes issues on how we can deal with women, inclusion and everything. We have the wing that deals with the young people, affairs of the youth and all that. And we have different segments. Secretariat that runs the day-to-day activities. When you see the principals doing presses, these are things that are planned at the secretariat level. Yeah, so that is what we make of United Opposition, but more are yet to come.
So when you're youth chair, what does that mean? Who elected you as chair? Who do you chair? How?
Like I said,
in what structure are you a chair? What I'm trying to say is, if I walked out here and I met somebody else calling themselves Eric Latif, youth chair, United Opposition, how will I know that Eric is illegitimate and you are legitimate?
You see, the problem we have with leadership in this country is the question of legitimate and legitimate. We focus on the legitimacy instead of service and achieving what we are looking at. Now, let me bring it to you. The United Opposition is a collection of different parties, like I said. Currently, we have DCP, we have DAPK, we have WIPA, we have PLP, we have DP, and more other parties. And all these parties has got segment of young people put together. Get that? And all these parties has got different structures within at individual party level. So when we sit together, we have principles of coalitions. That is where Rigathi Gachagua sits, Eugene Wamalwa, Natembeya, all that, Kalonzo Musyoka. And then from these principles, we have the secretariat, which is led by Dr. Mukisa Kitui. And now within the secretariat, that's where we have the youth, the women, the persons with disability, and the team that works on different issues. So within that structure, that's where I now step in. Yes.
Yes, Chair. Which party do you belong to personally? As are you affiliated to any of the parties? You must be, if you're part of the United.
Yes.
Which one?
I'm affiliated to the DCP.
I see. Okay.
It's hard to keep track, I'll be honest. United Opposition Parties as they stand right now. DCP.
DAPK.
DAPK.
Yes.
Okay.
PLP.
PLP. WIPA.
DP.
We have DP. We have Jubilee.
Well,
Yes.
yes, technically. It's just Kenyan politics is funny. Because someone just said they were in broad-based and they're in Jubilee.
He's not a leader of Jubilee.
I'm not.
She's talking about the umbrella.
The umbrella.
As it were.
Yeah, but go on.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
DP Jubilee. Is that all? That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those
five,
are the
six.
major parties.
The
Yeah.
major ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
This umbrella body, has it come up with any solid one single manifesto?
Well, we are, manifesto building is a process. We are in the process of building manifestos, a manifesto that can resonate with the current state of affairs that Kenyans are looking at. And our major areas of concerns are around cost of living, education, health sectors, that at least we can provide an alternative to what we are having right now, because Kenyans are looking for alternative voices, alternative leadership, and that is where we are veering towards. So when you see the principals are doing pressers and trying to communicate, and I saw somebody say that early in the morning that when the president did the State of the Nation, we ought to have the principals of the United Opposition ought to have done a counter presser or a counter communication to that. No, it doesn't happen that way. You have to go and interrogate that State of the Nation and decide what is it you're going to address. We've been used to a state where this person talks and you talk immediately, you talk back. Kenyans are tired with that, such setup of politics. When by the time you are talking, you need to provide alternative solutions.
Yeah.
If SHA is not working, by the time we are doing a presser, we need to provide an alternative to SHA. Like we said the other time, that we will reverse back NHIF. Because at that point, everybody was able to get at least service delivery at the hospital at a cost of at least 500 shillings.
Yeah. When you say Kenyans are tired, could that also be what informed the lack of young people turning up to vote in the by-elections? And I mean, that has been reported. First, I want you to confirm whether it's accurate.
Yeah, sure.
According to you, that young people didn't turn up. Now, yes, some reports say they're tired, angry at the state of politics, angry at the use of goons and violence. From your perspective, number one, were you disappointed that not a lot of young people turned up? And then two, if they didn't, why did they tell you they were not turning up?
Well, I would say that I was so disappointed, but allow me first say that the youth have got a bigger responsibility to fix this country, just like we are trying to fix the nation right now. The youth has a bigger responsibility, because if this nation fails, we stand a bigger chance to suffer the consequences more than those people who are in power today. So we have to take responsibility and always step forward to provide solutions and be part of the conversation. I was in Malava 2 weeks before elections. I was there for the campaigns of Seth Panyako and our United Opposition candidates. I was in Narok Town the day Rigathi Gachagua was tear-gassed. I was in Mbere, and in fact, it's Mbere where I finished my participation in that process, because I was also an observer. And I want to say that the youth did not turn up as we expected. In fact, this is unfortunate, but they were around the polling station but they were not voting. Yet, because those who are guarding the polling station and stopping vehicles from getting into the polling station. In fact, in 2 instances, one of the government officials and for the interest of accountability, CS Ruku was blocked by a group of young people twice at St. Mary's and Kanywambora Primary, trying to get access to the polling station by, using his vehicles and everything. The youth said, you cannot go inside with your vehicles, you just alight and walk through, because there were speculations of staffing. So these young people were clogging around the polling station, but unfortunately, most of them were not voting. See, so if you ask them, why are you guys not voting? And the concern that comes up is lack of motivation. And people are like, why are we going to vote in? And yet, the government has already, decided who becomes the MP. You get that? Some are saying that, they are not convinced yet. You get that? By the choices. So then that brings us back to the role of political parties, because whoever is going to be voted, to some extent, is influenced by the party. Because these candidates, in most cases, our parties are the ones that provide candidates. Even if you go to nominations, like what happened in Kasipul, you saw even primary school kids have been voting during nominations. So to some extent, there are people who feel like, no, this is not our candidate, but that's a party's candidate. You get that? So when it comes to the voting day, there's a segment of people who will not come and vote. And majority of these are maybe young people who feels that the candidate that was brought by the party is not our preferred candidate. Like in some areas, I noted that people were saying that this candidate is not our candidate because our party is not in the ballot. Get that? So then the youth are left stranded. They are looking at party and the candidate. So political parties must also ensure that during party nominations, we have consultation and we deal with the people. Or we give the young people and the people an opportunity to do proper nomination.
Like, what percentage of United Opposition candidates were actually young or seemingly fronted by young people? But before we get into that, did you say in Kasipul children were voting?
It's in the public domain.
Children.
People are complaining. Primary school.
In the nomination.
In the nomination, not in the gender, not in the elections. In the nomination towards, to pick the candidate that would, with the flag bearer, will be the flag bearer of the party, and it's an issue.
Flag bearer of which party?
The ODM, of course. It's an issue that really contributed to the low turnout of young people, and to that, we also experienced voter suppression through violence.
Let's just go back. You said young children
were voting in the nomination.
And were youth present?
School-going kids.
Yes.
Were voting.
What about ID'd youth? Were they present?
Yeah, ID'd youth. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is this verifiable that, school-going children were voting in party nominations?
You know, in party nominations, in most cases, in party nominations are conducted by the parties.
Yes.
Get that? And if you look at what the issues that were brought up in that after that nomination by the candidates who are looking for that ticket, number one, there were 3 critical issues. One, there was voter suppression through violence, and it's on record. There are buildings and vehicles that were attacked. 2, there was bribery, serious one, and 3, the issue of children came up. Not necessarily children, but some of them are not even party members. You see? I don't want to get so much into it because that is not my part.
Made by some of the participants in the by-election.
That party, exactly.
That some of the people who participated were non-members of this party. Some were even underage, and those were some of the allegations that came out.
Yes,
and which the party did not conclusively respond to. But coming back into the youth that are in the bracket of voting, 18 and above, right? Did they participate in the primaries? Why not? Did they participate in the by-election on Thursday last week? Why not?
The youth did not participate in the primaries because the biggest contributor to that is the fact that people have lost trust in the political parties. The young people have lost trust in political parties. And that is what we are trying to address. As parties, at the United Opposition, that is the biggest concern that we are trying to deal with, so that we get these young people back into the parties. Because anyway, You cannot transform a party from outside. You cannot transform the system by shouting outside in the streets. And the only route to put in a new person into power is through political process. And then political parties are involved. So that is what we are trying to address. The youth have lost trust in political parties up to now. But in the by-election, and like I said, there were so much attempts for voter suppression through violence and, of course, bribing. And we saw instances where young people were not just convinced that, no, this is not the candidate that we envisioned. That. That's what I'm saying, and I'm critical about political parties. When we go to party primaries, we must ensure that we give the people an opportunity to pick a candidate that they will turn up and vote for in the general elections. Yes.
I want to look at the issue of the voter suppression. Yeah. Voter suppression through violence. Who participates in violence? It's still the youthful people.
Of course.
If we just look at a majority of Kenya's population is youth, who will be the partakers of bribery? It will still be youth.
Youth.
Okay? So, on one hand, there's some youth who are motivated enough to engage in violence, motivated enough to take bribes, but then the others are not motivated at all to vote.
Yes.
Right? All of them are youth.
Yeah.
Right? So the majority of the youth are not coming out to vote because there was some element of violence and some element of bribery. I don't buy that. I don't see the correlation. Yes, there is violence, yes, and it's bad. But there are people who turned up to vote, okay? And we see voter turnout in some of these hotly contested areas was over 45%, for example, in Malava.
Yes.
Over 60%
in Bere.
In Bere, yes.
Many of them, the old people.
Yeah, senior citizens.
The senior citizens.
Yes.
So tell me, why did the youth not come out? If Mzee can come out to vote despite the violence, despite the bribery, and the young person will not come out because...
That's what I'm saying. In most of those areas, young people did not come out to vote because most of them were not convinced of that candidate. I'm telling you, I was in Mbere. Personally, I was in Mbere North during all that process. And most of these guys were not convinced. Some of them were not convinced that actually of the candidates in the ballot.
So they were not happy with any of the options on the ballot.
That is it. And that's why I keep insisting
and when you engage them and they tell you they're not happy with any of these, why are they not happy with them?
You see, politics is in most cases you realize that these young people had already taken sides with different political parties, and when these by-elections were announced, most of them were aligning to certain political parties, and that's why I say that political parties play a critical role in what will happen in the general elections or in by-elections. Because you realize person A had aligned with the party A. But unfortunately, the candidate was dropped off. That person gets demotivated to come and vote. Get that? And again, the young people, some of them were claiming that there were no young people in the ballot. Get that?
Goes back to the party.
Because if you look at, let me land on this. If you look at what happened in Kasipul, you know, many young people, the young people who turned in Kasipul to vote were inspired by the fact that a young person was on the ballot. That when they say chude, they must that is one of us. And the conversation is changing, and the youth are asking, why is it that any time there is an election, we are just going to vote in elderly? Does it mean that we do not have youth with the capacity to go at the ballot? And that's why the conversation towards 2027 is that the parties must provide an opportunity for young people to also be part of the people to be voted on. If you want to if you want to address this issue of voter apathy on the youth, we must also convince the youth to also be on the ballot, so that their fellow young people can also come up with a convincing mind that we are going to vote our own.
We called this election a litmus test for 2027. Everyone was calling it a litmus test. It was a litmus test for opposition, united opposition versus broad-based government and all that. It was also clearly a litmus test for parties and for how they organize. So I wanted to know, of the 22 seats that were being vied for, where the United Opposition fielded candidates, how many of them were young people?
Of the 22 seats, we had a good chunk of young people. If you look at even Kariobangi North here, we had a fairly young man on a DCP ticket, and he won the elections. If you look at Narok Town, we had a fairly young man there, Masikonde, as a United Opposition candidate. He won the election. In Kisa East, we had a fairly young fellow, Aduda, who equally won the elections. And in some areas, we also fielded young people, but unfortunately, due to party popularity in those areas, and of course, the machineries that were behind it, we could not get much.
How many seats did the United Opposition field candidates for? All 22?
No, not all 22.
How many?
Because we didn't field in Kasipul. We had no candidate in. We had a candidate in Ugenya. We had a Wiper candidate in Ugenya. We didn't have a candidate in Banisa. We didn't have a candidate in what is that? I think we fielded fairly good, but not all the 22 positions.
So maybe, let's say 16 conservatively, right? Maybe you fielded candidates in 16. And I'm hearing about 5 candidates that were young or youthful. Yeah. Proportionally, you can see, and then the good thing of the 5 or 6 that you fielded, 3 clinched the seats, right?
Yes.
What do those numbers tell you? That, I don't know, is it possible, had there been younger contenders or people that speak to that youth vote, then we may have seen more voter numbers or more wins for the United Opposition?
For me, what happened, what transpired in this election is the fact that if you look at these young people who contested from the United Opposition side, and they actually won the seats, having engaged with their voting bloc before elections, the biggest thing that was convincing their colleagues is the fact that a fellow youth is going to be at the ballot. I was in Kariobangi North.
Yeah.
Looking at, you look at the top candidates. You don't look at everybody. Looking at ODM candidate versus UDA candidate versus DCP candidate, you realize that DCP candidate was fairly the youngest. Get that? And that was the motivating factor of the young people around Kariobangi North, including those who are aligned to ODM. They were questioning why.
That's my point.
Why is our party not fielding a young person? Does it mean that we don't have young people in ODM who can actually run?
If 3 out of 5 young people that you fielded clinched their seats, imagine if you had fielded 10 out of 15.
I get the point. Get the point. And that's where we are heading. This election, like you said, it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve. And as we head into 2027 elections, what we can do as a party and as a coalition, with the rise and emergence of youth interest in politics, we must ensure that at least we give the young people an opportunity to be at the ballot.
Yeah.
The young people must be at the ballot, not just participating as voters, mobilizers, and chants and everything. They must also be in a position to be elected.
Yeah.
Because chances are that if they appear on that ballot, their colleagues will vote them.
Will turn out to vote.
Yeah.
Beyond that, what's the next biggest thing? In a perfect world, in an ideal Kenya, there'll be a lot of young people at the ballot, right? But what else are you also preparing for ahead of 2027? Beyond, because I don't know, we can push for young people being at the ballot, and I 100% agree with you. I don't know if there's any guarantee, given our political climate. Beyond that, what else can young people do, or what do they need to hear to turn out in large numbers? Beyond saying, we're tired, we're angry, there's bribery, there's intimidation, which are valid, it's, but beyond that, what do you think they need to hear to just turn up in 2027, whether there's young people at the ballot or not?
First, if you talk, Eric talked about the goons and everything. Who are the goons? The young people. So if you have to do away with the gunification of politics and everything, then the youth must also agree that they are not going to be used to fight either during or before elections. Get that? Number two, we must, the biggest issue we've been dealing with since 2024 is the issue of tribal politics. And I think for me, that would
Since 1963.
Okay, fine. But it came up in 2024. It was, I think, more clearer. I think for me, what would the biggest concern that would take me outside there, maybe for civic education or to cast a ballot, is to deal with the issue of tribal politics, because everything collapses at that level. When I feel like, no, I cannot work with Janet because she doesn't come from Kisumu. And I feel like Eric cannot work with me because I'm not from where he comes from. You see, it affects almost everything. Get that? So the young people, away from all those that we've said, voter suppression and everything, we have to identify issues that will take us to the ballot. Get that? If you want to have a society where I'm convinced that in the next 10 or 15 years, I will have a safe place, then I have to take responsibility and go and vote against or for the person I feel will provide that environment.
I'm giggling because President William Ruto had almost successfully done that with the hustler versus dynasty narrative. It was, I don't know about whether it's ideological, but it was definitely not tribal, right? It was just hustlers versus dynasties. And then, a few years into power, it's like, oops, ni kama nime overdo. Let's go back to default settings. Hook from region X, region Y, can I bring close and then bring their people close as a result? So then now we've gone back. So that seems to almost come from a top-down approach, which is the politicians giving us the manifestos and the issues, whether the issue be hustlers and dynasties, or we go back to, Simbadi yako serikali, simnaona governor wanga, simnaona nan, simnaona. How do we move from that to now, apparently it's the young people setting the agenda.
Talking about hustler and dynasty. So where is President right now? Is he still a hustler?
I don't know.
But it's in the public domain, he's no longer a hustler. So he used that board to actually cross to the other side. What I would say is this: we have to, and I agree with the people outside there who keep saying that we have to get off politics of sloganeering. And we need to, so that we can have issues. You see, in my thinking, people should go at the ballot or the ballot to vote issues, not hustler versus dynasty or person A with big head and person B with small. No. We need to have issues, issue-based politics. And that's why, you see, people criticize the opposition in many instances. And you keep saying, and people keep saying that, we don't have an agenda. We just say Ruto one term. No. You guys, those people criticizing us do not take time to listen to what we are saying. They only take that part of one term because it's the clarion call. Because anything that we want to do in this country as an opposition, which is alternative government and the government in waiting, cannot happen if President Ruto is still in state house. He must first get out so that we get in and do the fumigation and clean the room. So on top of all that we want to do, the key agenda is it must be kept aside first. But all said and done, we have a lot of programs, we have a lot of plan, we have a bigger plan for this country. Everything is failing. Get that? And we saw that, Ruto has been in the politics for the longest time. He's a smart politician, and he knows what should be done towards elections. And you have seen he's somehow starting the programs. He said, Rironi, Mau Summit Road will end in next year. I don't know. It will start in next year or somewhere. Towards elections. These are things that are going to be launched towards elections. And what you have said that Bad is in government or Opio. Recently, I was in Kisumu and somebody was saying that if Opio is in government, we're in government. If Mbadi is in government, we're in government. But the real issue is who is earning the salary? Who is getting the benefits of being in that government? Some of these people talking, I've never even seen that Opio one day since he was elected MP until he became a CS. Some of these people talking, I've never even seen the president himself. And some of these people talking cannot even access market center if it rains because the poor road infrastructure and do not have a security. Their children cannot go to school. That if they get sick, they have to do an arambe to get a Panadol to cure malaria. So what we are saying is we have to transform our politics from sloganeering to issue-based. And that's why, as opposition, we keep talking about critical issues. We talk about education. We must provide an environment where Janet's kid can go to school whether you are there or not. Get that? We must provide an environment where I can walk into an hospital regardless of my status and get medication. How often do we see our leaders go to Kenyatta Hospital? Rarely. If somebody is sick, or not even sick, somebody's been threatened by arrest, runs to Nairobi Hospital. Why don't they run to Kenyatta Hospital? Get that? Those are the critical questions we need to ask ourselves. If today, President is saying that the Kenya Kwanza team are saying that life is pesa iko mfukoni, maisha iko sawa. But the question is my grandma in the village able to purchase a kilo of sugar? So long as she cannot manage to get a kilo of unga,
then things are not okay.
Things are not okay.
Ken, all this is well and good. You're talking about issues, which is very pertinent. To make those issues a reality, people will have to be at the ballot and vote.
Definitely.
Voter registration is another conversation that's happening where, again, allegedly, a lot of young people are saying, or are not turning up to register to vote. It could catch up in time, but right now it's not happening. So everything you're saying is critical, but what good is it if people haven't registered to vote? So the same way you've talked about the by-elections not being ideal for people to vote, what's the argument for people not registering to vote?
I think we just need to get serious as a country. And like you started with the quote from Nelson Mandela, it's a collective responsibility. Personally, I'm a voter. That you are a voter, all of us here are voters. But now you see, it's within our responsibility also to convince a friend on the need to have that voter's card. Get that? And not just have it, to actually turn up and vote. Because the things I'm talking about here, if they happen, I'll not be an individual beneficiary. It will be a collective beneficiary as a country. So then for us to achieve this thing, we have to take collective responsibility and do what is right. IBC is doing its part, providing an opportunity for young people to register. Then it is the responsibility of the youth, us outside here, to mobilize ourselves and convince ourselves beyond reasonable doubt that whatever it is that took us to the streets in 2024, whatever it is that we feel that President Ruto and Kenya Kwanza regime are doing wrong and need to be changed, can only happen at the ballot, constitutionally. That. So that's the conversation we need to be having. Civic education. It is a collective responsibility. It doesn't matter, I cannot register twice as a voter. I cannot register once. But now it is my responsibility to convince 3-4 guys to actually register. And on that day, election day, if it's possible, I can as well take them, the 3-4 guys, and we go and vote as a team. I cast mine, they cast theirs. If we want to provide that change.
There's several things I've heard you saying, Ken, from your almost daily interaction with the youth. As the chair of the youth in the United Opposition, you get a sense that the youth have lost trust in political parties, number one.
Yes.
And that the youth are disillusioned by leadership, the current leadership. They just feel it doesn't work for them, doesn't serve them. And that is hindering their participation in the political process.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I listen to that and I'm wondering what that then means. Because I've not heard anything like it's a lack of information.
Yeah.
Or lack of
the information
knowledge,
is out there,
or lack of understanding their role in governance. So it's just that they feel disillusioned by leadership and they feel that they have lost trust in political parties. So I've just been listening to that and I'm trying to run away from coming to the conclusion that these are excuses and not the reality. Because somebody who is aware of the power of the vote,
the ballot,
they are aware of the channel through which you change leadership, and they are unhappy with the current leadership, and they know the solution to their unhappiness is by participating to change the current leadership, but they will not participate because I'm wondering whether when you listen to them, is it just one of the reasons of why not?
I think that's why I've said we need to get serious at individual level first. You have to take individual responsibility and just get serious. and realize that this matter is not a children's play. It's not a children's play. You see, the future that the late Raila Odinga lived until his death is a future that he prepared. He worked for it. The future that President Ruto is living today is what he worked for. Whether it is good or bad, that is what he worked for. The future that the senior citizens are living today in this country, that is what they worked for. So if the young people are anticipating a better future than what we experience today, we are working for it now. So we have to get serious at individual level. It should not be a question of excuses and say giving left, right. No. I agree with you, Eric. The youth must take individual responsibility and agree that if William Ruto is a bad president, like he is, we agree on that. Then, if he should be taken home through the ballot, then it means you as a person, you must first arm yourself with that ballot, with that vote. There's no any other way out of it. So it's about getting serious, because if it's about information, you guys have spoken, you guys discuss these things here daily. You bring here experts, they talk about these things. Information is out there. Civic education, you talk about it. People work in these universities daily, talking to young people. But if you go back, you realize that people are just sleeping somewhere, relaxing. So the youth, my message to the youth is we must get serious at individual level.
Okay, let's look at the by-elections, okay? You went to the rallies. You went to rallies, say, in Malava, in Narok Town, in Mbeere, you said you were there. In that crowd, the crowds that were coming out at the rallies, would you say the majority were youth or older people?
It was a mixture of youth and older people.
50-50?
Not really 50-50, could be 60-40.
60-40.
Senior citizens, more so the women, were turning up.
So 60 senior.
Senior citizens, 60-40 youth.
And by senior here, what age are we talking about?
I'm talking about
50?
I'm talking about 50, 45, 50.
45 and above.
Yeah. But that one in rural areas. Like say you go to somewhere in Evrore, in Mbeere North, you'll see such. If you go somewhere in Malava, deep in Butali, Chegulo, you'll see that.
In the villages.
But if you go somewhere in Narok Town, you'll be seeing young men and women. The youth turn up to grace the rallies.
So the youth are more in the urban areas.
Yes.
And the older people in the rural areas. And
Yes.
that's how they turn up. That's how also they turn up to vote.
And that's why the Kariobangi North MCA voting, if you looked at that voting process, majority of people who are voting there were young people. The same case to Narok Town. But in the villages, it's the senior citizens who are turning up. Get that? So a young person in the village, actually, let me put it this way. A senior citizen in the village would prefer to go and vote early in the morning and go back to the farm. But a young person in the village would prefer to go and hustle first before they come voting. Get that?
But even later in the day, did they come? Because I
did not come.
when the polls opened, we posited that. We're like, you know what? It's early in the day. We're looking at the lines at 7 a.m. You know, people are in bed. Let's see what happens by the end of the day.
Yeah.
The day ended.
The day ends.
Nothing.
In fact, Danke Mu 8896 has said some of us were unable to vote because getting time off from our supervisors was a challenge. And this is an issue that stakeholders need to review and address moving forward. Does that sound valid?
So they were at work, and of course, polling stations close at 5. People leave work at 5:30. So that could be a reason.
Yeah.
That some of them did not come out to vote.
Sure.
At work, in school, because unlike other elections, general elections, it's not a public holiday. This one was not a public holiday. So then, did we factor in that the older you get, the more time flexibility you tend to have? That's fair, actually.
Interesting.
Do you think that's possible? Are we just making excuses?
Yeah.
No,
I think
no.
we're trying to figure it out together.
But those
We
are
will explain it as much as we'll try to explain it, just so that it doesn't look so bad.
But it's bad.
It is bad. That's true.
Yeah. You think something radical needs to happen?
I mean,
Mariam and
June
Eric?
24th wasn't a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people came out.
Do you think something radical needs to happen, or do you think it's, to Kent's point, it's just like, no, it's not radical, you just need to get serious? Or do you think there needs to be something radical said or done to get people to register?
I don't know what radical thing. What's more radical than wanting to take charge of your future? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really. I like with what's at stake. I think that should be enough to radicalize everyone. So then, like I don't. Beyond that, how much more radical could we get than, hey, you keep saying you're unhappy. This is how to fix the issue. Beyond that, maybe it's the style of how it's said. Maybe it needs to be door to door. I don't know, but the message I think is sound. Honestly, come and register as a voter. Show up to party primaries. Show up to vote in 2027. I think those messages are out there and will continue to be out there. There's no more radical reason than wanting change.
Then the choice. And you can't add sauce to it. It is what it is.
Maybe
like you can't season that message.
Maybe we can season. Maybe the style is what.
No, but the message is the message. Seasoned or not, to your point that you've just said very well, Mariam.
Yeah.
Seasoned or not, the message is this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking that almost as a rhetorical question. Because even Eric is trying to grapple with, we are really trying here.
We are.
We are trying to season. We are trying to.
Like
Ken is also trying to. But it's the thing is that's the one thing. That's the one choice you have in your hand if you're 18 and above.
Yes.
Is to register to vote and then to show up at the primaries and then to show up at the elections.
You know. I think nowadays the conversion is slightly changing. Huh? Initially, people could say that, oh, maybe politics. No, it's not my thing. And most of it used to happen with the young ladies while we were in campus. Even in campus voting, they would say, mimi mambo ya siasa, mimi staki. But when that washroom that she uses is not functional, she rushes to the person who was elected and she did not participate and elect that guy. If that guy fails to address the issue, they now start shouting and goes for strike. Why? You did not come up to put this guy into power.
Because can I tell you part of the reason why sometimes you might see young women staying away from university elections is because they are very similar to national elections. Sometimes they're goonified. They don't encourage, they don't feel safe, to be quite honest.
And we spoke to Wanja Maina on the same thing. It's a legit concern about safety, but
So then that trickles into, again, national elections and why some people might stay away. I'm not excusing. You should be. You should be involved.
It's fine,
but if you don't feel safe,
it's fine. But that's why I asked myself.
They come out during those demonstrations that he's talked about.
Come again?
So when the students are unhappy with the leadership because the toilets are not working, their welfare is not taken care of, and the students come out, do they come out equally, male and female students?
No, they don't. You see, the people who raise concerns, you realize that the majority of people who raise concerns do not come out to actually deal with it. They just raise concerns for others to get aware that this thing's not working. And then there's a segment of people who now demonstrate and do their stuff, and then issues are sorted and the complainants are now okay. That. I agree with what she's saying, but who are the goons in the elections?
Young people.
Never seen anybody 60 and above playing the role of a goon.
No.
So,
but you know what I have
that's
seen?
Why I said
people 60 and above funding goons.
That's why I said they are funding goons. And who are the goons?
The goons being funded.
The goons being funded are the youth, the young people. That's what I'm saying. If we get serious with this issue and decide that we want to put a stop to it, it is our responsibility to tell the goon funder that, man, it's over. We have to take this conversation into a different level. Get that? So that these young ladies and our women can also come and vote peacefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll throw it back to you as youth chair of United Opposition. I think it's to interrogate the reasons why certain people don't show up to vote, because it's very easy, and like we're saying, it's not an excuse, but it is sometimes easy to dismiss and say, you guys complain, but you don't show up. I think maybe as part of the task is to really interrogate and try and find out how to make it conducive for everyone to turn up. Again, I know it sounds like another excuse. Siongezi seasoning hapa. But like, if there's certain factions who genuinely feel, I don't feel secure, I don't feel like I'm going to have the safety and security to turn up just based on what I've seen in the past. Whether or not they're saying it from a way that sounds like an excuse, I think it's to listen and to try as a parties, the many that Mariam listed, to figure out, okay, strategically, we need to figure out how to make sure persons with disability, women, people who are in regions where maybe they don't have as much access, I don't know, are going to come up and vote, rather than the easier thing to do, which is, this is how it usually is. We move regardless. sana sana hawakuji anyway, it's fine. Counter that and be like, let's deep dive and find out what is it that keeps you as a female student from coming? What is it that keeps you as a person with disability from coming? Because then you're still mobilizing people, you're still mobilizing numbers, but from a point of understanding.
Yeah, I agree with you. But like we all agree that we have to, if we were to have that conducive environment, we have our responsibilities to play.
Create it.
We have to create it.
Fair. Yeah, exactly.
We have to create it. Because if you look at violence during or after all that process, and we experienced one in Bere, in a polling station called Kitibiru or something, where people were beaten seriously, including agents. And in fact, it's from that polling station that that UDA candidate won the elections. Because agents of the opposition were beaten and thrown out. And the CS took over the station and these boys were now counting the votes. That. And outside that polling station were young men shouting two-term at a cost of some few coins. But now the question is that what you want? Was that your candidate or you were given that candidate? Does he represent your values and your interests? Or you are just there because now you have some few coins and you can do the dirty work and go home? Okay, tomorrow when the sun rises, what are you going to do? If this guy fails now to actually deliver as per your expectations, who are you going to cry for? You see, if you can answer these questions, then we can now decide that no, we are not going to be used for all these shenanigans. Right. We are going to do the right thing, that is voting and protecting the vote. You see, what I also noted.
Minute. Okay. Okay. What you noted?
What I noted is young people saying that we are protecting the vote. We are protecting the vote. But now you are protecting what you have not cast. What are you protecting?
Someone, Charles Ndungu, is asking, is the United Opposition Youth League countrywide or just centralized in the main offices where the audiences they reach out to is negligible? The
opposition is countrywide.
The Youth League specifically?
Of course. Why was I in Malaba? I don't stay there. Why was I?
Are there United Opposition members from Malava?
Like below you, the chair?
Yeah, we are rolling out. You know, we are in the process of rollout. You see, we cannot just sit down and let things be disorganized because we've not put up all structures in place. We are rolling out a proper way to reach out the grassroots because our intention is to ensure that every young person who has an alternative voice to what President Ruto is offering can be engaged.
Right.
Because anyway, opposition is not, and I keep saying, opposition is not the principles that you guys keep seeing. Opposition is the majority of Kenyans who are saying that Kenya Kwanza regime is not doing what the people are asking for. Those are the people, that is the voice that is saying that we need a different person in office.
Okay.
So then the principles are now the face and trying to mop out 1, 2, 3 issues.
Okay.
Yeah, the face of the people.
We have to wrap it up. I think we've tried to excuse a lot over the last hour, but I'll keep saying this until it lands home to every young person who is either not registered as a voter or just not feeling politically engaged. It's like no. Kama wazazi hamogopi, TikTok challenge hawogopi, tiagas hawogopi, voter registration is where you draw the line. No.
Please make that a mantra.
Let's do better.
10 of those 3 examples you've used. That's good. Yeah,
that's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Tonight at 9 p.m, a feature called Goon State will be airing on NTV at 9 p.m. So just watch that, just to get to understand the making and therefore the future breaking of this Goon State. This will be airing tonight at 9 p.m.
Oh, well said. Thank you to all our guests who've come today. Fixing the nation one conversation at a time. In the coming hour, there's a graduation mahali. Graduation from 10.
Season.
It's graduation season. That's what you'll be watching, but you'll be listening to Vibe Shift, I believe.
Yes.
Brian Nasali, Claudia Naisabwa. You'll see us back here 6 a.m. tomorrow. Mariam Bishar, Eric Latif, Janet Bogwa. Have a good one.